everyone. I welcome you all to today's hit series session, that is High Impact Topic Series session. And in today's session, we are going to talk about the presidential maiden address of Droupadi Murmu to the nation on the eve of independence. Eve of independence means an evening before independence, that is evening of 14th of August is when the president delivered this address. In fact, this address is very crucial for us, not just because the president has delivered her first maiden address, of course it is so, but it is very crucial for us to cover this particular address from the aspect of our UPSC CSE perspective, because she has mentioned certain various crucial aspects from our examinations syllabus perspective. So we are going to look into the fundamental duties, the Gatishakti scheme and Digital India program, followed by the National Education Policy or New Education Policy, and the prelims and mains based practice questions thereafter. All of this is going to be followed by our details of the news, which is of course the presidential address itself. That is our news, and these become very crucial for us. Of course they are crucial, they are important from our syllabus perspective, but the importance gets reinforced since president has made a mention of the same in her presidential address, maiden presidential address this year on the eve of independence. So this is the aspect that makes me choose this particular topic for the hit series today. But before I move any further in the session, I want you all to be informed about the Polity and Ethics Foundation course for 2023 by Nitin Shivhare sir, which are going to begin on 18th and 29th of August. You need to inquire on this particular number for further details regarding admission and any other query regarding the courses. The seats are limited, so I would ask you to hurry up and get associated with Analyst IAS to add a lot of value to your preparation for UPSC CSE examination. Now, let's move towards the news. So President Murmu was addressing the nation on the eve of 76th Independence Day. This was President Murmu's maiden Independence Day eve address or speech. Now why maiden? Because after becoming the president, this is the first nation address to the nation before the eve of on the eve of Independence Day that she has delivered. And for us, it becomes all the more crucial. Why? I have already discussed with you. So, President Murmu has called upon the citizens of the country to gain knowledge about the fundamental duties and follow them in letter and spirit. So, here, fundamental duties become an aspect of discussion for us. Then, President Murmu mentioned that during the last few years, unprecedented progress has been made in the development of physical and digital infrastructure. She said that all the modes of connectivity based on water, land and air are being integrated through Pradhan Mantri Gati-Shakti Yojana. This is what brings us towards discussing Gatishakti Yojana to enable seamless transportation across the country. She said Digital India is creating bedrock of a knowledge economy, and hence Digital India is also something I have picked up for you all for our discussion. And on national education policy, the president said it is aimed at preparing the future generation for next stage of industrial revolution while also connecting with India's heritage. Now, next industrial revolution is Industrial Revolution 4.0. This is some tidbits of the knowledge that I am going to add up to you and to this session. And of course, we are going to talk about the new education policy itself as well. But first of all, the fundamental duties, right? So, inspired fundamental. So, as far as fundamental duties are concerned, it is inspired from the Constitution of Russia, and it is incorporated in Part 4A of the Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976 on the recommendations of Swaran Singh Committee. Fundamental duties were added to the Constitution by 42nd Amendment under the Indira Gandhi's government. In fact, 42nd Amendment is very famous or infamous for a lot of other things, but fundamental duties that were added through this particular amendment are being carried on. So originally fundamental duties were 10 in number, and one more duty got added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. What is that one more duty? That the that the guardians and the parents of the children have to make sure that the children of in the age group of 6 to 14 years, they get educated, they get access to school education. So all the 11 duties are listed in Article 51A, which is the only article present in Part 4A of the Constitution. Now, what does fundamental duties do? What are they all about? They serve as a reminder to the citizens that while they have a lot of rights, and especially the fundamental rights, while they are enjoying these rights, they have also a duty towards the nation and the fellow citizens. So they have to be quite conscious of their duties they owe to their country and their society and their fellow citizens. And just like DPSPs, fundamental duties are not justiciable in nature. So if you are not performing a fundamental duty, no one could actually lodge a complaint against you. No one can sue you in the court. The government could not take any legal action against you for not performing your fundamental duty, unless a certain duty like paying tax is backed by a other legal provision, which could be a punishable offense thereafter. Only in that manner you could be punished, but the fundamental duties themselves are not justiciable in nature in any court of law. So let's look at the fundamental duties. So it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution and respect the ideals and institutions and the national flag and national anthem. Then this is number 1. Number 2 is to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Third one is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. Fourth one is to defend country and render national service when called upon to do so. Fifth one is to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of the country, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women. Then sixth fundamental duty is to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Seventh asks us to protect and improve natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for the living creatures. Fundamental duty number 8, to develop scientific temperament, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reform. Ninth fundamental duty is to safeguard public property and abjure violence. 10th one is to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. Now there is also an 11th fundamental duty, which I have mentioned about just right now in the previous slide. So I want you all to put it in the comment section so that you get reminded of it the next time you are recalling the fundamental duties. And this brings me to the end of the discussion with regards to fundamental duties. Remember, we have a lot more to discuss, so I shall be moving towards the pmgatishakti or gatishakti scheme. This scheme is a push for next generation infrastructure, and the slogan with regards to this particular scheme is Pragati ki Gati, Bharat ki Shakti. This scheme aims towards integrating all infrastructure projects seamlessly, breaking down the silos in the infrastructure development, adding speed to the connectivity throughout the nation, whether it is based on water, rail network or road network. Then holistic planning and execution with a common vision, that is connectivity throughout the nation. That is the vision of Gati Shakti, right? So Gati Shakti or Gati Shakti rather, this is the correct word, Gati Shakti. Gati Shakti scheme is a multi-modal connectivity plan with the goal of coordinating infrastructure projects, planning and execution to reduce the logistics cost. Because if the grids are connected properly throughout the country, the routes could be shorter and thereafter they shall be able to hence save time, energy and cost of logistics and transportation, and also to ensure infrastructure project planning and implementation over the next 4 years with a focus on expediting work on the ground, cutting costs and creating jobs. If government is investing in infrastructure, it is certainly going to create jobs for a lot of people. So the Gati Shakti scheme will incorporate rupees 110 lakh crore national infrastructure pipeline, which was announced in 2019 by the PM. Aside from lowering logistics cost, the scheme aims to increase cargo handling capacity and shorten the port turnaround times in order to boost trade. Now this port turnaround time is the time which a ship, when it reaches Indian port, the time it takes to unload all the articles that it has and load back certain articles or export material that is it has to go back with, and thereafter it gets back on the voyage or journey, right, towards the other destination, whatever it would be. So that is port turnaround time. So that time for India is far more than the international average or global average. So that's why India has to work a lot towards this particular aspect, and that's why it is being considered specifically under the Gati Shakti scheme itself. It also intends to build 11 industrial corridors and 2 new defense corridors in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. Another goal is to bring 4G connectivity to all the villages. Now, this particular point is very heavily, containing information. 11 industrial corridors, 2 defense corridors, where in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, and 4G connectivity, that is internet connectivity, 4G internet connectivity throughout the villages, all the villages. So the gas pipeline network is also included, which is to be expanded by 17,000 kilometers. It will aid in meeting government's ambitious targets for 2024-25, such as increasing the length of the national highway network to 2 lakh kilometers and constructing more than 200 new airports, heliports and water aerodromes. It intends to bring together 16 ministries involved in infrastructure. This will aid in resolution of long-standing issues such as disjointed planning, a lack of standardization, clearance issues and timely creation and utilization of infrastructure capacities. Now, as much as a scheme it sounds, while we go through the features, the characteristics, the aims and objectives it is targeting, it is doing the same on the ground itself. It is bringing a lot of changes, so much so that it has made into the presidential address and she has appreciated the same. So Gati Shakti scheme right now is a very crucial scheme of the government from the national development perspective, and thus it becomes all the more crucial for you to cover from the examination perspective also. So there is more to it. The Unified Logistic Interface Platform, ULIP, is also created, which is to integrate 24 digital portals of 6 ministries in total. And what this integration shall do, this shall be helping in reduction of logistics costs in the country again, because the processing, the permits, the amount of time it could take to move from department to department, portal to portal, this is being cut down upon by the creation of this particular integrated Unified Logistic Interface Platform. This is a digital platform, this is a web portal, which currently stood at 13 to 14% of GDP. This particular logistic cost stands for 13 to 14% of our GDP, which is a lot and has to be reduced. And thus this initiative is very, very crucial, and it is higher than in some developed countries as well, far higher than in some developed countries as well. Digital platform Gatishakti, it entails the creation of a common umbrella platform through which infrastructure projects can be efficiently planned and implemented through real-time coordination between various ministries and departments. The portal provides information not only on existing and proposed infrastructure projects but also on available forest land and industrial estates wherein infrastructure work could be carried on. The pmgatishakti scheme is actually running on the basis of 6 pillars. So let's cover them one by one. It has to be a very comprehensive one. So comprehensiveness, one centralized portal to comprehensively cover all the departments. What is that portal? That portal is ULIP. ULIP. Then prioritization has to be there, interaction between departments to prioritize projects. Optimization, identifying digital gaps and optimization of such resources. Then synchronization, that is coordination between ministries, between departments to achieve the common objectives under the Gatishakti scheme. So if a inland port has to be connected through rail and road, now this is an integrated project of various departments. So synchronization has to be balanced. Analytical, data-centered governance and use of GIS based spatial planning. Dynamic, periodic updation of on-ground progress on the portal itself. So continuous updation of the portal is also very much required. So these are the 6 pillars on which the pmgatishakti scheme is running. Now next up is Digital India. This was launched in 2015. The program has been enabled for several important government schemes. So BharatNet is one of the scheme under Digital India program. So this program is an umbrella program underneath various government schemes are running, of course with respect to the connectivity of digital connectivity throughout the nation. So making internet accessible to the people, be it through smartphone devices. So Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, industrial corridors, etc. are also being formed under this particular program itself. The vision areas of Digital India are digital infrastructure as utility to every citizen, and this is also a critical infrastructure in the country today. So governance and services on demand, digital empowerment of citizens, these are the vision areas of this particular program. The objective this particular program aims to achieve is to prepare India for a knowledge future. That's why President has mentioned that Digital India is actually creating a knowledge economy. And why? For being transformative, so that India could realize IT, that is Indian talent. This particular slogan was actually given by the PM, so it becomes crucial for us to understand about the Digital India program in a brief. So IT, first IT stands for Indian talent combined with information and technology, IT, which leads to the creation of tomorrow's India, that is again India tomorrow, IT. So IT plus IT is equal to IT. This is the slogan or a formula that was given by an interesting way to understand the Digital India's vision and objective. Making technology central to enabling change. On being an umbrella program, I have told you it is an umbrella program. So if under a particular scheme or program, multiple schemes are being run, multiple initiatives are being taken, now that becomes an umbrella program for the integration and coordination for seamless transitions from one scheme to another. So this is an umbrella program. Even Gatishakti is an umbrella scheme. So this program is an umbrella program covering many departments and many schemes underneath the same. Now Even Digital India is working on the pillars. Just like Gatishakti, this Digital India scheme, however, has 9 pillars, or Digital India program rather has 9 pillars to it. First of all the highways are supposed to have broadband. Then public internet program, information for everyone, early harvest program, universal access to phones program or pillar, IT for jobs, electronic delivery of services. E-Kranti is another pillar. E-governance is a very, very crucial pillar and very well achieved so far pillar under the Digital India program. Then electronic manufacturing target net zero import India wants to do as far as the electronics are concerned. So this program also helps us strengthen the manufacturing sector of India, which has been lagging behind, which was bypassed throughout the planning commission's era. Now the next up is new education policy or new national education policy or national education policy 2022, howsoever you call it, howsoever you remember it. We are going to talk about it now. So the NEP 2020 aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. The cabinet has also approved the renaming of the Ministry of Human Resource and Development as Ministry of Education. So this renaming keeps on happening. First it was Ministry of Education, then it became Ministry of Human Resource Development, and now again Ministry of Education. This keeps on happening. But now Human Resource Development, Ministry of HRD or HRD Ministry is again Ministry of Education. So the NEP has cleared or was cleared by cabinet and is the only third major revamp of the framework of education in India since independence. So before this, twice already education policies have been changed in the country. So the two earlier education policies were brought in 1968 first and then 1986, and now it was announced in 2020. The third one, the third development or the third updation to the education policy of the country. Now, of course, Ministry of Human Resources is now Ministry of Education, but let's understand what new education policy holds actually underneath it. So we shall be understanding it in two phases. First of all for schools, thereafter for higher education, that is for colleges. So from 10+2 school formula or structurization, it has shifted towards 5+3 +3+4. So current 10+2 structure has to be done away with, and now the classes have to be there for 5 years of foundational education, 3 years of preparatory, 3 years of middle, and 4 years of secondary schooling. Then multiple stream as flexibility has to be there. For example, earlier if you are a non-medical student, you would be choosing maths, physics, chemistry. If you are a medical student, physics, chemistry, bio, right? But there has to be flexibility to choose subjects across the stream, and all subjects are to be offered at 2 levels of proficiency. So now even a science student can choose a humanities subject. So it is a multi-stream prospect that the student could actually choose for himself. So whatever subject you were interested in and earlier you had to let it go because you have to choose a certain stream, now the upcoming generation does not have to go through the same. Even the board exams have been diluted so that they only test the core competencies rather than the memorization power of the student, which earlier used to happen and which used to be the objective or seemed like the objective of the board exams. So they could become modular, and in fact that is object and subject, whatever objective as well as subjective, even MCQs and subjective answer writing could be there in the same paper. This could be the aspect and will be offered twice a year, that is semester system. Multilingual 3-language policy to continue with the preference for local language. So if you are in Punjab, you will be having Punjabi, English and Hindi as your 3 languages. Till local language can be a preferable medium of instruction till class 8. So it could be preferred and it's not compulsory. So if a school is English medium and you go over there and ask them that I want to study till class 8 in Punjabi, that is my local language, now that may not be possible for this particular school, but of course you could change your school and see for yourself where you can get instructions in Punjabi till class 8 if you have to pursue or prefer the same. But this is about preference and not compulsion. Please remember, do not get confused about it. Then there have to be bagless days where students will be introduced to vocational trainings, and this will start from class 6th itself. So students, they are to have 10 bagless days in a year, during which they would be exposed to vocations of their choice, and it would be a 10-day short term very quick internship period that they would be going through right from the class 6, which is a very interesting aspect over here, because practicality has to be increased in Indian education system. Definitely, we all recognize that. Now let's talk about the higher education, that is for colleges. SAT like college test. National Testing Agency (NTA) is to conduct common college entrance exams twice a year. So it's not just in the month of June, July and August that you would be getting the admissions. Like it happens in various other universities like Open University, IGNOU, you would be getting admissions in the colleges in 2 intakes. So there would be 2 intakes in a year for getting admitted to any college degree. And the bachelor program could be from 3 to 4 years, and in fact 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor program is to be preferred. Now you see, it's not compulsorily there, so it's not like they are doing away with, like they were doing away with 10+2 program, but they are not doing away with 3-year bachelor degree program, but preferably a 4-year bachelor degree program would be there, and even midterm dropouts would be allowed, and they would be given the appropriate certification and credit for the completion of half of their course. For example, after 1 year, if they are dropping out, they could be given a diploma certification, and if they are dropping out after 2 years, a 2-year diploma certification, and so on. And they could even, once they have attained that diploma certification, they could carry on their degree thereafter after a break if they want to do so, or if they don't want to do so, they can just do some other course. Now this becomes a very interesting thing about the new education policy. And a very crucial but technical aspect to understand is no affiliation required aspect. As far as the higher education is concerned, this is basically concerned to the educational institutions. So over the next 15 years, colleges will be given a graded autonomy, that is, they could check their own papers and evaluate the papers of, or exam papers of their own students. They would be able to give degrees on their own. So if you were currently studying in, let's say, Khalsa College in Delhi, your degree would be coming from DU, but now your degree in the span of 15 years, your degree would be coming in directly from Khalsa College. So it would be a Khalsa College degree and not Delhi University degree. And affiliation to universities would end, and so would the deemed university status. Many colleges which are known as autonomous colleges are given this deemed university status. Even this status would be done away with. And in fact, the students would attain degrees and will be getting their exams evaluated right from the same institution where they are actually pursuing their course. And in fact, a proposal is there to announce a fee cap, which on the fee that is charged by the private institutions for the higher learning. So let's say the government has capped the fee for a particular course at 10,000 rupees a year, and you could go below this but not beyond this, even private institutions. This would make education accessible and affordable for the youth of the country. Then the government aims to go global. So global things would come to India, and our local things would go to the international level, to the world, to the globe. This is what is global, right? So as far as education is concerned, top rated global universities are to be facilitated and invited to come to India and establish their institutions or get associated with a particular institution and offer degree and courses, facilitate certain programs over there. Like these associations could be made, and Indian institutions, top Indian institutions, are to be encouraged to go global, to have their institutions established in other countries of the world. So this is about globalization of Indian education, so that we could come at par with the requirements of the international job community, and in fact employers community. We could get hold of the same, so that our demographic dividend, our youth, could be employed in India and internationally, and in fact could earn at par with other people who have studied from various international universities. So now let's get into few more details which were not covered in the previous chart. So as far as school education is concerned, universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education is the target of the government to be achieved by 2030. So 100% gross enrollment ratio in preschool to secondary level. So GER in schools particularly has to be 100% by 2030. So no child should be remaining who is not enrolled in a school. Then to bring 2 crore out of school children who have left school back into the mainstream through open schooling system, so they could complete their education through open schooling even if they are not in the age of or cannot come back to the school regularly. It will bring the uncovered age group, that is 3 to 6 years. So right now education, right to education covers what age of children? 6 to 14 years of age, right? This is the age which gets covered under RTE, right to education. In fact, the new education policy aims to cover children from 3 to 6 years of age as well under the school curriculum, which has been recognized globally, that after 3 years it is a crucial age for the development of mental faculties of a child. And it will also have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling. School governance is set to, so 3 to 6 years is Anganwadi or preschooling time basically. So the governance is set to change with a new accreditation framework and independent authority to regulate both public as well as private schools. So even private school regulation would be more now onwards, since education has been turning into the business, especially even at the school level. So the emphasis has to be there on foundational literacy and numeracy. There has to be no rigid separation between academic streams, extracurricular and vocational streams in the schools. So multi-stream aspect we have covered, it is in line with the same. And in fact, vocational education is to start from class 6th itself with internship. I've already explained the same to you. Teaching up to at least grade 5 is to be in mother tongue or regional language. No language will be imposed, however, on any student. Assessment reforms with 360-degree holistic progress cards tracking students' progress for achieving learning outcomes. So now the results or report cards would be based on the learning outcomes and not based on how much a student could actually memorize and produce in the examination sheets, right? A new comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education (NCFTE 2021) will be formulated by the National Council for Teachers Education (NCTE) in consultation with National Council for Education Research and Training, that is NCERT. So even teachers training program would be updated, because after all the same teachers with the same set of skills and same way of working cannot go well with the new education policy. So by 2030, the minimum degree qualification of teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree, integrated with another specialization or a graduation or so. B.Ed degree would be done integratedly, just like BA and LLB could be done integrated as an integrated course. Similarly, it would be a 4-year integrated degree that could be offered for B.Ed. Now, this was about teachers as well. With regards to school education, it's time to talk about the higher educational aspect now. So, gross enrollment ratio in higher education is to be raised by 50%. Raised by, like whatsoever it is right now, it has to be increased by 50% of that. Let's say gross enrollment ratio today is 90%, or let's say, sorry, 90% won't do. So let's say gross enrollment ratio in education, higher education today is 40%. So it has to go to 60%, because 50% of 40 is 20. So 40 plus 20 is equal to 60. So the target would be to achieve 60% of gross enrollment ratio in higher education by 2035. Also, 3.5 crore seats are to be added in higher education. So increase in the capacity of current institutions, and in fact increase in number of institutions has also to be there. So I have just taken this 40% for making you understand. The current gross enrollment ratio in higher education is 26.3%, just 26.3% in our country. MPhil courses will be done away with, they will be discontinued, and only PhDs would be there, undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD. And of course, they are going to be interdisciplinary. Academic banks of credit are to be established to facilitate the transfer of credits. So a credit bank for the students, kind of a credit bank would be created, and the students would be earning credit for each of the courses that they would be doing, and that credit could be transferred as well. So if you have completed, let's say you got enrolled in a graduation course in a particular institution, but you dropped at mid-level, and of course you would have got credits till that time, and you would be getting the concerned certification as well from the particular institution. Now you can carry on your degree after a break in some other institution, just that credit would be transferred. So this makes it very easy for students to learn at their own choice, at their own pace, and as per their requirement. So multidisciplinary education and research universities, known as MERUs, at par with IITs and IIMs, are to be set up as models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. The National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across higher education. The Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, will be set up as single umbrella body for the entire education, including medical and legal education. Public and private higher education institutions will be governed by same set of norms for regulation, accreditation, and academic standards. And in fact, the universities would be done away with, the university accreditation would be done away with in the span of next 15 years. We have already discussed. So this would be the governing body for all of these aspects, that is the Higher Education Commission of India. Over a period of time, every single college is expected to develop into either autonomous degree granting college or a constituent college of a university itself. See, now education policy is also boosted by a digital drive to it, so that there is no digital gap as far as education is concerned. So new education policy has emphasized on integration of technology in all levels of learning, and some features of the policy are technology in education, such as an autonomous body. The National Education Technology Forum will be created for exchange of ideas on use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning, and administration. Then a dedicated unit for the purpose of creating digital infrastructure, digital content, and capacity building will be set up in the Ministry of Education itself, a dedicated department, dedicated unit. Then integration of technology will be done to improve classroom process as well. Digital boards will be installed, which are going on for a lot of time now, but still there is a lot of digital divide in the country, throughout the country. So teachers education, by 2030, the minimum degree qualification will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree program. So if you have to become a teacher, you need to pursue a 4-year integrated degree program in B.Ed. Thereafter, financial support will be given to meritorious students belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward classes and other socially and economically disadvantaged groups, and they shall be incentivized for their performance, the meritorious students. Then private institutions will be encouraged to offer the scholarships for their students. Professional education, as far as it is concerned, standalone technical universities and health science universities, legal and agricultural universities will be aiming at becoming multidisciplinary institutions now on, so that they could cover more aspects of concerned professions. Now, this was about the new education policy. So we have covered certain very crucial information in this particular session. Of course, inspired by the presidential address, but very, very important from UPSC CSE's perspective. Your prelims practice question for today is: in India, the term public key infrastructure is used in the context of A, digital security infrastructure, B, food security infrastructure, C, healthcare and education infrastructure, and D, telecommunication and transportation infrastructure. Your answer for this particular question is A, digital security infrastructure. Now, the mains practice question for today. The moral value of fundamental duties would be not to smother rights, but to establish a democratic balance, making the people conscious of their duties equally as they are conscious of their rights. Discuss. You need to discuss or answer this particular question in 250 words and send in your answers to us on WhatsApp to get them reviewed. This is it for today. I shall see you again with another hit series session. Till then, take care, stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining in.